This is the new 7th generation 2026 Subaru Outback. And this is the new Subaru Outback Wilderness. We have a first look right now on Driving Sports TV.
The Subaru Outback has been one of the most popular wagons you could buy in North America. In fact, it was one of the only wagons still sold here. Yes, I know Subaru calls it a crossover, but based on its shape, this is a wagon. Well, the times are changing, and Subaru is changing the Outback for the times. This is the new 2026 Subaru Outback. The new design is taller and boxier, but still ready for adventure. Under the skin, Subaru is carrying over the same basic powertrain options as the previous generation. The base engine is a revised 2.5-liter four-cylinder boxer engine that now produces a peak 180 horsepower and 178 pound-feet of torque. The revised output is due to a new particulate filter that is required for vehicles that follow California emission rules. The upgrade is a 2.4-liter turbocharged Boxer 4 like we have here. This produces a peak 260 horsepower and 277 pound-feet of torque. Both powertrains feature continuously variable transmissions and Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive. The steering rack is borrowed from the WRX. It's now a dual-pinion electric design. This should provide a more direct feel while cutting through the corners. Of course, it has been tuned specifically for the Outback to have better low-speed control. Standard ground clearance is still 8.7 inches, just like the previous generation.
So a few things about the design of this car. You can tell that it's obviously a lot more square than the old design, but it still maintains kind of a station wagon-y silhouette. Now we have a panel right here, and my guess is that there's going to be accessories that are going to get mounted here, but nobody told me that. I'm guessing. We have a much larger piece of glass back here, and then up here we have the new roof rail design. These will hold up to 800 pounds static and up to 200 pounds dynamic, which means if you have a tent up there, you can get the whole family camping up there. And then when you fold it down, that'd be the dynamic moving value. So big things can go on the roof now, which is nice.
Because the vehicle is a little larger, inside it also has more cargo capacity. In the back, you get up to 34.6 cubic feet behind the second row. That's up by 2 cubic feet.
Under the floor, do we get a spare tire? Let's see. Oh yeah, look at that. That is a temporary spare. It's a 155/80 D17, so not exactly a matching spare, but should do in a pinch. What we also have back here, we got the easy pulls to flip down the second row, and we also have the addition of these little latching hooks, which are pretty cool. They help with accessories as well as you can just use them to hang things, which is nice. Over here we get a 12-volt power socket, and yeah, the floor actually lays down completely flat. You could totally sleep in that if you wanted to. I think I'll give it a try. Oh, it's perfectly flat. I'm 6'1" and I fit. This is awesome. 2 thumbs up and 2 toes up.
You also get this neat privacy screen in the back that can be used for various configurations. Of course, the higher roofline also gives you more headroom.
Ooh, in the second row, this is nice. Seats feel pretty comfortable. I also get down here vents, both USB-C, USB-A, and 2 stages of heat. Down here we also get pockets to put, books, magazines, mobile devices. In the middle, we of course get a fold-down armrest with cup holders.
Yeah. Let's go. We just gotta go.
The inside, totally different, but in a good way. Not only do we have a larger infotainment screen, everything is just new here. I mean, we have a digital gauge cluster. We have physical buttons for the aircon. Physical buttons. It's great. I love it. Now, one of the oldies but goodies is still here. We still have the classic steering wheel, and of course we do have both tilt and telescope, which is nice. We got lots of buttons up here, including now the X mode button has been moved to the steering wheel, which is an interesting choice. Plus there's a little heat switch down there. Yes, so this is heated at this trim level. Now let's talk about this gauge cluster. They They have made so many improvements with this. The design actually looks really nice. It's modern, it's colorful, and it's actually really useful. And with a toggle on the left here, I can switch between just a whole bunch of different views, from classic gauges to maps to a more simplified setup. It's overall just a really good visual experience. Then over here, we have the new infotainment system. And I know in some early photography that was circulated around the internet, people were hypothesizing that this was based on the Toyota system. It's not. This is actually Subaru's homegrown system. And the graphics, like, oh my gosh, they have made such big improvements on this design. On the screen here, we have quick selection on the left to go between the different modes, between maps and music. And of course, it supports wireless Android Auto as well as wireless CarPlay. Now down here, we do get a charging pad at this trim level. And then behind that, we have the main console. And I like that they've kind of minimized the piano black here. We have kind of a brushed look for the cup holders. We have an actual, lever for the transmission controller, which is good. And then we have a selection of buttons. And this is one of the things that excites me the most. They have finally improved their cameras. Finally. Good cameras, surround view, trail modes, you name it, it's got it. I love it. Behind that, we get a 12 volt, and then we get a little bin down there. So overall, I love this interior. I think it's fantastic. Now, the car we're sitting in right now is an early pre-production vehicle. We can't drive it. We'll be driving these later this year. And the fit and finish of the materials, this is all very early stuff. It'll look a lot better when it's finalized. But I think just this first look, yeah, I'm impressed.
Fun fact, the headliner here is made from 12 recycled bottles. Not 11, not 13, 12. Safety has been upgraded as well. Upper trims get a new hands-free driving system that works at speeds up to 85 miles per hour. That is only available on upper trims with maps, since it is limited to geofenced highways. Safety feedback is through a new haptic response system that gives warnings through small vibrations in the steering wheel. It will also pull off to the side of the road if it detects that the driver has become unresponsive in certain conditions. Now let's check out the one I'm really excited about, the all-new 2026 Subaru Outback Wilderness Edition. The Wilderness is, of course, the more off-road ready version of the Outback. Approach and departure angles are identical to the outgoing Wilderness model, at 20 and 21.2 degrees respectively. Departure is actually reduced. It drops from 23.6 to 22.5 degrees. Of course, you do get a skid plate standard. As for recovery hooks, Subaru is still relying on the screw-in loops, but at least they give attachment points both in the front and the back. They're just not as apparent on this pre-production unit because they don't have the color-coded covers. Wilderness trims get 9.5 inches of ground clearance, which is the same as the previous generation Outback Wilderness, but that is massive for a unibody crossover. Like the standard Outback, it does have independent suspension on all four corners. But not only has it been retuned for the 2026 model, the Wilderness also comes exclusively with a new E-damper system. This is an electronically controlled damper that will vary rates depending on steering and vehicle inputs. Unfortunately, the driver cannot select a specific damping force program. It is dependent on the ECU to make those decisions. How well does it work? We're going to have to wait till we drive it later this year. The only powertrain option on the Wilderness trim is still the 2.4-liter turbo boxer mated to a CVT. The X-Mode off-road traction system is of course still here. The dual-mode off-road logic supports snow and dirt and deep snow and mud to provide the best traction in difficult terrain. And it still retains the third X-Mode program that kicks in at speeds over 25 miles per hour for high-speed stability. Subaru has made improvements to the symmetrical all-wheel drive system. They claim a faster lockup on the center clutch, as well as better stability overall. One big surprise is that the Yokohama tires have been replaced with Bridgestone Dueler all-terrain tires mounted on the Wilderness exclusive 17-inch wheels.
The back here is completely different compared to the old Outback. What we have here, these are actually for resting gear against the vehicle, and it won't slide off, which is kind of cool. And a lot of Outback owners add hitches. Now, previously they had to cut out the bumper. Well, finally, Subaru has addressed that by making a bumper-ready hitch location. So all they do is snap off a part, install the hitch location, and you're good to go.
If you like to tow, the optional tow hitch does now support both 7 and 4-pin connections with a maximum pulling load of 3,500 pounds.
This is upgraded with the Harman Kardon sound system, so there's a subwoofer back here. Under the floor, you get a full-size spare. And you will note the Dueler all-terrain tire. These backup lights look pretty amazing.
The inside is similar to the standard Outback. A synthetic leather called StarTex is standard, but now for the first time you can also option real Napa leather with heat and cooling on the seats. The gauge cluster is digital and features unique wilderness graphics, which is a nice touch. Pricing for the new Outback and Outback Wilderness will be available later this year. Availability for the Wilderness should start in early 2026. Of course, we hope to finally get some time behind the wheel later this year to see if this new Subaru really lives up to the legacy of the Outback name.
So what do you think? Did Subaru knock it out of the park? Or is this one a swing and a miss? Post a comment below. As always, for Driving Sports TV, I'm Ryan Douthit. Thanks for watching.